Welcome back. In the previous lectures, we have discussed about the find method. And now here we have a close cousin of find method, which is the find index method. Now the find index method works almost the same way as find. But here the find index returns the index of the found element and not the element itself. Now let's see a great use case for find index in our application, which is the close account feature that we have here. So, and in our application here, closing an account means to basically just delete that account object from the accounts array. So, for example, that we see here in these accounts, we have the here four accounts. So, for example, if Sarah decides to close her account, that is, the Sarah belongs to account 4. So, with that, the account 4 will be deleted. So now here we delete an element from an array. We use the splice method. Remember that. And for the splice method, we need the index at which we want to delete. And also where could that index comes from, and you guess it from the find index method. Now let's first select this button and attach an event handler to it. So that is here the button close. And now let's down here and then write here button close and then give an add event listener and then give the click and same as our function. Now here we need an event object and that we can call the event with the prevent default dot. Now let's just test this one. So write console.log, give here delete. Now let's see here if the connection is working or not. Let's log in, go to close, click on this button. See here we have the delete message. So it is working. Now let's take a look at our flowchart. Here the first thing that we need to do is to check if the credentials are correct. So basically if the username is inputted here is equal to the current user and the same for the pin. Now let's get rid of this. Now before writing we need the names that we have assigned. That is this input close username and for pin input close pin. So now let's down. So here we need to check that if the username is correct or not. So for that, give here if input close username dot value and that value is strictly equal. We need the exactly same of the username. So that is in the current account. Let's write current account dot username. And now the same thing for the pin also. Input close pin dot value. And once again converted to a real number. So further, let's give here number. So this pin is strictly equal to current account dot pin. And now let's actually do the deletion itself. So as I said already, we are going to use the splice method to delete the current account. So let me actually start by writing that part. So write here accounts dot splice. So here I am giving the index, which is the index that we are going to calculate in a second. And we will remove exactly one element. So for that, giving one index. And then the splice method actually mutates the underlying array itself. So there is no need here the result of this anywhere. So now let's actually calculate that index. So for that, let's write here const index and now at which we want to delete. So that is accounts dot find. So we take the accounts and now instead of find, we use find index method. And once again, this one takes a callback function, which is very similar to all the other callback functions we have been using. So it's going to loop over the array essentially in each iteration, we get access to the current account. So account, that is a arrow function, and then give account dot username. And also we need to equal this one. This is strictly equal current account dot username. Now let's take a look at the index. Write console dot log index. And now let's actually take out of this part this one. Now let's see that. So go to close account, and then when I click here without giving anything, nothing happens. So just as we intended, then with the correct user and with a wrong pin, give the correct user, and then with a wrong pin. Now click on this button, then also nothing will happen. You can't see the numbers. Now I am giving here the correct pin, then click on this button, and so now we get here the index number of the JS account in the accounts array. Now let's take a look at the accounts. See here, the Jonas account is in the 0th one. So that is here the username JS, and the 0th index is displayed here because we have given the close account request. Now we see the Steven details, and now see here Steven, and then now let's give here Steven details, username, and then the pin. Now let's click on this button. See here we have the Steven's index number. So now here this find index, how will it work means we have passed a statement in this find index method. So something that will return either true or false. And after that, the find index method will return the index number of the first element in the array that matches this condition. So for which this condition here returns true. And so again similar to find, but it returns the index and not the element itself. Now you might notice that this is actually similar to the index of method and that we already studied before. So right here dot index of, and then here we can pass in some value. So give here for example 25 like that. So this is we studied earlier. Now the big difference here is that with the index of we can only search for a value that is in the array. So if the array contains the 25, then it is true, and if not, then it is false. But on the other hand, with the find index, we can create a complex condition like this one. So, and of course, it does not have the equal operator here. It can be anything that returns true or false. Okay. And here we can simply check if the array contains the value of it and returns of index of it. Here both return an index number, but this one here is a simple and lot simpler than this find index. Now let's actually delete this element. So this current user on this current account. Now check here the flow chart. Here we did this one, and we also need to log out the user. So that means that we need to hide the UI. So that is similar that we have here. So that is we did here in this like this opacity. So now here in this, we want to set it back to 0. So this is for delete account, and then we are hiding the UI. Let's give here hide UI. Now let's reload the page. And then as I said before, the user will then be back, of course. So because we do not present this data anywhere, and also now we see that here the UI is still there. That's because we didn't change here to 0. But anyway, let's still take a look at the accounts object in this moment here. And now we have here 4 elements. But when we click on this button, after giving username and pin, see here now it displayed the 0th index, and also now let's search for accounts. And then now see we have the 3 accounts in this array, and also see the 3 accounts, what are they? See here we have Jessica, Steven and Sarah, but the Jonas account is not available here. So this means that it is working perfectly. Now we just need to fix this here and we need to set this to 0. So let's make it 0. And also I want to clear these fields. So for that let's write here input close username dot value that is equal input close pin dot value, and we need to give here the empty string. Give a save and reload, and now this is set to 0. Now let's see that. Give here the details. Here give the details. And after giving the enter, nothing is happened. So here we have a bug that here these statements we are after before reading all these we are setting this to empty. So please cut this one and then give here. Now let's reload again and then give the details. And then here also click on what. See here we have the input index and also here we see that all the details are gone of Jonas account. And now let's try to log in again. See what happens. See that here we have the account is undefined. So that is because of this user no longer exists here. So that means that in our array accounts. So with this we are implemented one more feature successfully. And now finally I want to give you a note that both the find and find index methods get access to also the current index and the current entire array. So as we always besides the current index, these other two values are also available. But in practice, I never found these useful. And second, the both the find and find index methods were added to JavaScript in ES6. So they will not work like super old browsers. But don't worry, there is going to be a lecture a little bit later on how to support all of these old browsers. So we are done with this, and this is all about the session. See you in the next one. Thank you.